Coming up, the White Sox scored 2 touchdowns and the Yankees battled both the Twins and the umpires. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories in Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. We start out with the White Sox, who put on an absolute offensive clinic last night. You have to imagine they went out there with something to prove against Oakland. Locked On White Sox takes you through the beatdown at the Coliseum.
The Chicago White Sox had 21 hits, 10 extra base hits, 5 home runs as they beat the Oakland Athletics 14-2 on Thursday night. Hey, I'm Nick Morawski from Locked On White Sox. Boy, the Sox tried to exercise every single one of those demons from previous years at the Oakland Coliseum. It hasn't been kind to the Sox. Unbelievable offensive output. Yoan Moncada, 5 hits, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, a triple short of the cycle. Romy Gonzalez had a 4-hit game. Dylan Cease gave you 6 innings of scoreless baseball. Sox try to make it 2 in a row in Oakland with Lucas Giolito on the mound on Friday. For more, tune into Locked On White Sox.
The Phillies had a rare opportunity last night. They could have beat Sandy Alcantara, but they couldn't quite hold on in the end. Locked On Phillies talks over a tough loss to Miami.
That's a tough loss for your Philadelphia Phillies. Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. David Robertson's been really good this year, and when you give the ball to a closer in the ninth, you got to expect him to shut it down. You had 1 run to work with. You beat Sandy Alcantara. Well, you should have beat Sandy Alcantara. And David Robertson let the team down a little bit. More Rhys Hoskins, too, with not fielding a ball to first base hit directly at him. It was just a collapse in the 9th inning. Now, you can't win them all. You still win the series. You're okay with that. But tonight was a game you would have loved them to have. And they're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to beat out the Brewers. But you got to have momentum going down the stretch. And this was a tough game to lose. Some good things. Bryson Stott, some good at-bats. Rhys Hoskins had some great at-bats at the plate, but it can all be neutralized by bad defense. And a 6-5 loss with that situation in the 9th inning is just, it's unacceptable for a team that's heading towards the playoffs. Now you play Washington. You got a very, very beatable team again. Win another series. Take advantage. We move on towards the playoffs, but a disappointing loss tonight. If you want to hear more, check out all of my work on Locked On Phillies.
Coming up, the Yankees lose, but they have a bone to pick with the umpires. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB. This edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform out there. With NFL season kicking off, Sleeper is climbing the charts with over 4 million users. In addition, they have just launched 22 new features, including over-unders integrated into fantasy, the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. Not only can you enter a contest via over-under itself, but you can also do so through your fantasy league's matchup screen. It's really simple. First, in any sport, you choose 2 or more players that you like. Then you pick the over-under, for example, rushing yards in football or number of points in basketball. Then you choose the amount of money you want to enter into that contest. If you pick correctly, you can win anywhere between doubling your money and 20 times the amount of money that you put in. It's the only app where you can join with your friends in the contests and play with each other. You can write it all out together. Join our listeners group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/lockedonbets, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Again, go to sleeper.com/lockedonbets. You will get $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. The umpires truly made it all about themselves on Thursday in the Bronx. Locked On Yankees more upset about the umpiring than the series finale loss to the Twins.
This is Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees dropped the finale to the Twins 4-3. But did they really drop it to the Twins, or did Larry Vanover help the Twins win? I'm going with the latter. Gleyber Torres did not see 1 strike in his at-bat until he swung at strike 3. He should have walked, the previous pitch, because instead of a 2-2 count, it should have been 4-0. He should have gone to first base. But because Larry Vanover can't call balls and strikes, that didn't happen. And the Yankees couldn't come back and win in the bottom of the ninth. And it wasn't just calls against the Yankees. Major League Baseball needs to do something about these umpires because they can't be changing game outcomes like this. They just can't. It can't happen. And some of these guys who have been around a really long time, like Vanover and Angel Hernandez and the rest of those guys who have been around since I was in high school, they need to go. You need to bring new blood into these games because it's just ridiculous. Now, the Yankees won 3 out of 4. Awesome. But this loss and the way that it happened left a very bad taste in my mouth. We will have a full recap of this, and I will probably be ranting about this also on the show tomorrow. So tune in for that.
A battle of the bottom feeders. The Reds got the best of the Cubs at Wrigley. Locked On Cubs didn't have a lot of nice things to say after the loss and some even bigger concerns for the future.
Cubs lose a heartbreaker to the Reds, if you want to go down that road, in September. 4-3. Irritating game. Had the game in control late. Mark Leiter, who I've talked up on the show, has been really nice out of the pen, blew a save. The defense today in center field by Nelson Velasquez and Rafael Ortega left a lot to be desired, although the Red center fielder gave the Cubs about 3 free extra base hits, losing the ball in the sun. You try and take away little things from each game. Good day for Horner, good day for Suzuki. Sampson was awesome again. But one thing I'm concerned about heading into the future for the Cubs, and I'm going to talk about this on the show later, is until PCA comes up, the Cubs have no defensive center fielder, and it sticks out a lot. They give up a lot of cheap hits. They give up extra bases because they don't have a natural center fielder, and I thought that was a big takeaway today. Really tough to lose 2 out of 3 at home to Cincinnati, especially after winning the first one like they did. Hopefully they can bounce back this weekend against the Giants.
It was a record-breaking day for 2 of St. Louis's longtime stars, but as for the actual game, not too good for the Birds. Locked On Cardinals talks through the ups and the downs of the loss to the Nationals.
Well, what was supposed to be a celebratory day for Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina turns into a massacre at Busch Stadium. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and we had a lot of good and bad in this afternoon's game. Let's start with the good. Today, Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina tie the record for the most games started as a battery in Major League Baseball history at 324. That is a feat that will likely never be reached again. So that was good. Yadier Molina, or September Yadi, as we're calling him, hits not 1 but 2 home runs today, drives in 3 runs. That's good. Now the bad. Adam Wainwright, once again, did not have his good stuff, allowing 4 runs on 9 hits in just 5 innings of work. And the bullpen, they had a really rough day, giving up 7 runs on 9 hits in just 4 innings as the Washington Nationals stomped the Cardinals 11-6. Pujols goes 0 for 5, so he's still at 695 career home runs, 1 short of Alex Rodriguez for 4th all-time. The Cardinals split the 4-game series and fall to 81-57 on the year. They'll be heading to Pittsburgh to face the Pirates this weekend with Miles Michaelis set to start on Friday. For more in-depth Cardinals content, be sure to join us tomorrow for a fresh new episode of Locked On Cardinals.
That's going to do it today on Locked On Game to Game MLB. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On MLB on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure you check out your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.